Hey, I hope you enjoyed that video clip. I really wanted to check out how this thing would do in like a metal context with some of its high gain tones. I think it turned out pretty well. And I think the biggest reason for that is because it was a very simple tone. It was mostly just the amp and a little bit of overdrive to go in front of the amp modeling that I chose. On this track, I used the Friedman model and then the Mesa model for the rectifier, so like the tread plate, and then the BE101 was the Friedman. I thought those sounded pretty good, especially together. I felt like they blended really nicely. And then used a clean bass tone and then just added in an overdrive pedal on that to get that grit. And I felt like that turned out really well. I think the best bass amp on this is definitely that Roland model. So the first clean bass amp, I think it gives the best sound, in my opinion, to the way that I like bass. But I hope you like this track. I think it was pretty cool. That was inspired completely by playing through this amp. I came up with all of that playing through this amp. So it is an inspiring little amp that is really good in a practice context, in my opinion. I don't think it is an amp that you would want to say it's my main rig that I'm using. The recording output is super easy to set up, but is a little frustrating if you don't have extra USB-A to USB-B cables. Then you will be monitoring through this and it just doesn't sound that great, especially compared to the Yamaha monitors that I have. And I would have liked to have been able to reference through those, but I was just trying to be able to borrow this amp for not too long because I borrowed it from one of my students. So shout out to you, Baz, for letting me borrow this. I'm definitely going to get that back to you really soon. But it's a really good practice amp. There was a little bit of recording latency too in using it in the DAW. So I just had to shift everything back, but that wasn't too much of an issue to line it up with the MIDI drums that I was playing along to. I think this sounds pretty darn good, and Positive Grid does a really good job with their tones. I have the bias effect amp and effects on this iPad, and I've used it before, and it was really fun for practicing. But I think that's kind of where it stops. It's just a really good practice situation, but I would use many other things in a live setting or as my main tones in recordings that I would do in the future. But if you just need something that's a good practice situation, this is a really good option. Sounds really good. So thanks again for tuning into the video. Remember to like and subscribe. Leave a comment below. Let me know what you thought of the song. I thought it was a pretty fun one, and I thought it turned out pretty well using the tones on this amp for some heavier stuff. See you in the next video.